Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to an episode of Long Ash Podcast. I'm Chris, and I have a very special guest with me today, Conor Boucher. Boucher. Okay, I don't want to say Boucher. From Glenbrook Brewery. Conor and I go way back. I don't know what year it was because it was before COVID, so nothing really exists. But we took an acting class together. Mm-hmm. I think 2018, 2019, and a lot has changed since then for both of us in terms of career and life and whatnot. But if you guys are familiar, we've done a few videos. We've talked about it. I've worn that hat on almost every podcast. But yeah, he is one of the manager.
I'm the general manager. Yeah, general manager is just fine.
General manager of Glenbrook Brewery. So first of all, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you had some time to kind of sneak away and come on, and figured today we were going to do a cigar and beer pairings. He brought some really, really good beer from the brewery so we could pair with our cigars. And he helped me out a little bit. He said what he was going to bring. So if you guys ever want to order some of this beer, whether it be online or go into the store, I do have a few cigars for you guys to pair it with. But first of all, I kind of want to talk about like your journey in the I guess is it beer world, brewery world?
I mean, it falls under distribution, hospitality, all of that. It's it's a service industry. Me personally, I got into restaurants at 18, 19, bartending and all that, and then you move slowly up. And then when COVID hit, restaurants weren't doing so great. So my two good buddies were opening a brewery in Morristown, and we would talk about it. I would support them. And then push came to shove when they were about to open. They needed a manager. They needed someone to help run the show. So I stepped in, and I've been there. We've been there since the inception, which we opened February of 2021. Our target date to open was March of 2020, but that didn't work out so well for anybody. And so we held on tight and just kept, stuck to the plan a little bit. And we opened in February. It's been 4.5 years now. And Darren Cregan, he's the creative director and the majority owner, and Heath Traver, he's our brewmaster. He's the only guy in the back. We have help back there, but as far as brewing, it's Heath. His recipes, his mindset, his mentality, and he knocks it out of the park all the time. He makes some really great product. It's easy to work somewhere where you agree with the passion of their vision, and then also the product behind it. It's easy to sell this beer because it's so good. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can definitely attest to that. I've been a handful of times with family, with friends, and I can't believe it's only been 4.5 years, like you said.
Yeah.
It feels like you guys have kind of been around forever. You guys are a staple of Morristown. You guys are right outside the green, the center of Morristown, kind of like when you're going up to the green. That's kind of where you guys are located. Mm-hmm. But every time I'm there, and I was there recently, it's packed out. It's what I love about it is family friendly, because I think, people are always a little weary of like, oh, you're going to bring your kids to here. I was kind of one of those people till I had kids. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, I want to kind of like be an adult, so I'm going to bring them to places. But I think it just has a really nice family vibe. You walk in and there's like merch, games, menus right there. Mm-hmm. And then it just opens up to like just the tables are beautifully very visual appealing to the eye. The bar is kind of in the back, right? And I don't know, everyone who works there is really nice.
We've built a good foundation, a good system there. We are family friendly. A lot of breweries aren't, a lot of places aren't, and we wanted to provide that option. We encourage families to stay at their tables and be respectful of the games and other people who are there just to have a good time.
Yeah.
But we like to have that option. We have trivia night. Best Men Trivia comes on Wednesday nights. We have food trucks. We have music sometimes. So we just try and provide that ulterior option for guests. Some people like to go to Morristown for the restaurants, and some people like to go to the bars. But being a brewery in Morristown is a great option for people to go. It's very mellow, very very laid back. And we work as a family. I hate to say it because it's so corny, but my team is my beer tenders, my back of house, cleanliness, all that. My sales distribution team. It's a lot of work, a lot of moving parts, but we all work very well together. It's a great place. We wake up every day and we get to go to work with our friends, and we work with beer. So it could always be worse.
It definitely could. And I say that about this. Jared Cigars is a little different than Glenbrook in terms of. We're like a wholesale online shop. I always say we're like the Walmart version in the cigar world. You guys are more the mom and, when it comes to beers,
100%.
The mom and pop. So there is that family you could tell like walking in, and maybe just because I know you and I've been there, I know the people. I don't know their names, but I know the people that are there. You could tell you guys are just super close. You're going to table, joking around. You're joking around with your staff. You could just tell like there's that camaraderie there. But it is like at the end of the day, like I get to smoke cigars. Like, I'm smoking cigars with one of my friends right now, like for work. It's pretty. It could be worse.
Exactly.
Let's piggyback a little bit. Yeah. When I first met you, I believe you were working. Yeah, you were working hospitality, and you said that's all you really knew, and you were working at a restaurant in Morristown, I believe. I forgot. Was it attached or next to the ShopRite of Morristown?
Yeah, it was the bar attached to the ShopRite. I worked at a little bar in Morris Plains called Collins for a long time, and then I got an opportunity to kind of be the bar manager of this. It was a wild idea to be a bar at a ShopRite, but it worked for a bit. I met when my GM was is a mentor to me still. So my whole process in hospitality was always just learning what's next. How can I be better at this? I have a hospitality voice. Hi, how are you? Things like that. So it's ingratiated in me now. And I was a volunteer fireman. I had a lot of other jobs and things like that, but I always came back to hospitality. Yeah, and it was just because you get to meet people, you get to do this. I get to like you said, sit with my friend and sip some beer and have a cigar. It's just you meet a lot of great people and value a lot of those relationships, which I still do. So and that's helped me at Glenbrook as well. Just being in part of the town for so long and being a part of the community in the county, I made a lot of great relationships, and it's easy. When I'm not selling you something you don't really want. It's more just like, oh, I have pretty decent beer. Do you want to try it? And then they go, I love it. And then in some places it works really well. I was at a delivery before I came here. We do self-distribution, so it's myself, my partners Darren and Heath, and we ride out, and we have accounts from LBI to Jersey City. So it's long. The weeks are long, and but it's so worth it just to do what we do.
And it looks like it's paying off too. Yeah, it really does. And
not with the gray hair and the goatee.
Oh yeah, that's so you're a stop. I think that's fatherhood, though.
That's 100%.
Yeah. So when you were at the restaurant in ShopRite or next to ShopRite, and I remember, like I said, we were in acting class together. When we were there, you were working there as well. When COVID hit, everyone just kind of like, I tried getting you and Anthony to be like, we all be in a short film, but like we thought COVID was going to be done in 2 weeks. It just kept, obviously we all know what happened.
And I don't hold that against you at all.
No.
No, I'm kidding. The best part about acting with you is acting with you. The content, the creation, we just had fun with it.
Yeah, we did. It was a lot of fun. But so when you decided, when your friends hit you up about joining Glenbrook, obviously it was in 2020 or maybe before 2020, if you guys were planning on opening March of 2020. Were there any, how were you feeling during that time? Nervous, excited? Because like you said, you've been in hospitality since you were 18. So you must have been like, all right, I kind of know what, like I have a personality. I know the business, but like take COVID out of it. Were you nervous? Were you excited? What was going through your brain at that time? Because you flash forward right now, I know I keep saying it, but like everyone I've brought to Glenbrook is like, I recommended it to one of my coworkers and she's like, we're going to come back. Right. So
that's great.
That's me just saying, hey, you should check this out. But then it's you guys doing everything. Like I'm not, it's just a suggestion from someone else. You guys are setting out that, what would you say? You're setting the scene for them, right? You're doing everything, and they're like, they want to come back, right? So, what was going through your mind when you first wanted to take on like working at Glenbrook?
It was a wild time, to be honest with you. And every person in the hospitality or restaurant industry will tell you, like, COVID was a nightmare because I did it for at that point over 10 years, and it was nerve wracking because where are you going to go from there? And a lot of folks left the restaurant business. But when I was offered that opportunity, I thought about it real hard because it was either make a detour left and go get a job where, I clock in 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, or, invest in something and try and get your hands dirty with it and try and help building. Starting a restaurant and starting a brewery are the toughest parts. Everybody goes in and enjoys themselves, but there's bills to be paid. There's a lot of things to be done before a restaurant or brewery is profitable. And it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and time that you don't get back. But when you're passionate about it, so when I spoke with Darren and Heath, it was their passion that sold me on it. And I had not tried the beer yet, the product, because that was another thing. I was like, I want to make sure that the beer is good before hey, try this. And it's awful. Yeah. But But speaking with them first, especially Heath, and Darren was very, very persuasive of it, but Heath's dedication to creating beer and his recipes and the meticulous nature that he operates with, I was like, that's a guy I can ride in a battle with, So it was an easy decision to join. And then when I tried the beer, it was even easier. And then it was a matter of, it's all nerve wracking, and it's all like starting from square one, because restaurants, they're way different animals than breweries. Breweries started out with a lot of limitations. The state of New Jersey wouldn't allow us to have, more than 2 televisions that were 65 inches or less, no live music, no food trucks. That's recently lightened up, which has benefited breweries, but it's also a lot more moving parts than we already have. I always say restaurants, when I came from, I thought it'd be easier to go to just beer, but restaurants, you have food menus, you have liquor, you have beer. So those all boost your check averages, which then boost your sales. At Glenbrook, we're selling beer for top dollar $8. So it's daunting, those numbers that keep coming in. But
and seltzer, it's a very limited menu. Right?
It is. We're only allowed to make malt-based products. So our seltzer's malt-based. There's a popular seltzer out there that has the same malt base to it, totally gluten-free, 5%. But even then, you can go, that's the one particular part of brewing, which I think you can go to every brewery individually and see that there's different styles of seltzer for sure, because it's not a fine-tuned thing like beer making. It is, but, especially people do it differently. But it's a tough task, and you want to please everybody. But if you think about restaurants, if you go out with your wife and say, I want to go get some food, and she wants a margarita and you want a glass of wine, you're not coming to Glenbrook. So you have to be in the mood for beer. You have to be a beer lover. So it just makes our jobs a little harder. And I knew that going in. So it was daunting to be like, okay, now we know what the separation between the attractiveness of breweries are and restaurants. How do we get those people in our doors? And it's having a family environment, having trivia nights, having those events and food trucks that we do, food pop-ups, Salt, Pepper, Ketchup. Ray De La Cruz, great guy. He's there the first and third Sunday of every month, and he's a food pop-up, and he's a grinder, he's a worker. So it's like building with the community and also kind of handshaking with the mom and pop shops, like you said, around town, just trying to get our word out there, get our message out there. We're a revolutionary theme brewery because we're in Morristown. So we hang our hat on the fact that the Morristown is the war capital of the Revolutionary War. And we're all from Morristown. So that's, we grew up with that. So we like to have that theme. We like to have that energy that we bring to the community, and being visible, doing offsite events, the late nights and stuff. That's what makes it worth it, is that you see the return on it, and people are, I saw a guy wearing a Glenbrook hat in public. I never met him before in my life. And that was cool. It's just
I bet.
So from where we started, that nerve-wracking energy, it's still nerve-wracking, but it's figuring out how to, when you get on a boat for the first time and you have to drive it, and it's like, figure out how to drive it, man. You're like, all right, and now we're cruising. We might be in a no-wake zone, but we're finding our way out to ocean.
That's great. No, that's great, man. Yeah. So you said Heath is the master brewer. He
hates that term, but he likes the term head brewer, but I think he's my sensei. He's a master.
Yeah, I always say with cigar industry, master blender.
Yeah.
Because they are, the ones, like an AJ Fernandez, Nick Melillo. These are guys that are going down to Nicaragua, sleeping in the factories, testing blends. Have you seen him in his process?
Oh.
Do you see it? And does he go to you guys to be like, what's the process of, I guess, creating a new beer? Whatever you can say without giving away any secrets or whatnot, but just for the audience, so maybe we could kind of compare it to cigars, because I do think wineries, breweries, cideries, and then cigar factories, they all live under one umbrella, because at most breweries, that's where they're creating the beer.
Yep.
They're creating the blend. It's different than going to, I guess, a distillery or distillery. Like I went to a bourbon distillery a few months ago. They make their bourbon and then they let it sit in wooden barrels for 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how they do that. I'm not sure if I don't know the fermentation
Same licensing.
process.
So we do distribution licensing, but similar process to their own individual unique, characteristic. Like we have a distillery in Morristown called Dismal Harmony, good friends of ours. And they, that process of distilling is a little bit different than fermenting beer and stuff. And same thing with wine making, but same umbrella, like you said. But yeah, it's all under, we all work together. And that's the cool part about the community of brewing. You said secrets. There's really no secrets. I can go to Double Tap, I can go to Autodidact and Fort Nonsense, and oh, that's a great beer. How'd you get that? And then they open their doors. Come back to the brew shop. You know, let's go over it. Cool. So it's, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Everybody works together.
That's important. I mean, because you got, like, on the surface, you guys are, if you want to, you know, I'm always comparing things to sports. You guys are like their competition, so to speak, but it doesn't seem like that with breweries anyway. I don't know how any other, like,
it's competition
spirits and wine
in a friendly pickup game.
Yes,
that's what we always say. It's like, you know, we're not here to take over anybody. We want and the great part about beer is that it's all made differently. So if you don't like one of our beers, you might like one of their beers, you know, and the same goes for that other way around. You know, we have loyal militia club members. We call it the Glenbrook Militia. And they'll come in and go, like, I had a beer and I hated it. All right, relax. You know, I don't like every beer I've ever had. That's not how it's supposed to go. And people go, you know, we have 12 offerings. Other breweries have more, 24 and 18, things like that. So we have to be good in those 12. And if you come in and you try all 12, and you don't like one of them, I'll give you a free shirt. Like, if you try a beer off the menu that you're just anxious to try, and you don't like it, cool, we'll try it, we'll start over. We always say when people come up to the bar is, you know, welcome to Glenbrook. This is our full menu. If you want to try anything, we'd be happy to give you a sample. And if you have had a beer in your life that you can't live without, we can try and match it. So we're here for you. We want you to know that there's a huge palette of beers. Brewers make them differently all around, but that's what makes the industry so cool is that our hazy IPA is not going to taste like another IPA. You know, it has similar qualities and similar hop builds and things like that, but it's not going to be the same.
Because not every brew master leader is the same, unless if they come from the same quote unquote school. You know, let's say Heath and another brewer learn from one other guy, they might have similar.
But brewers feed off each other too.
And their palates are different. Their palates are different.
Absolutely.
It's just much like cigars, your palate's going to be different. So if if you're new to cigar smoking, you want to get into cigars, I always say, what do you like to drink? Yeah. What do you like to eat?
Pairing
do you have a sweet tooth? If you have a sweet tooth, then I'm going to probably give you something with Connecticut broadleaf. If you like something that's like more meatier or like heavier, I'm going to give you a double Lajero wrapper, or I'm going to suggest it to you. It depends on what your palate can do, and I think that's everyone who's in the cigar business and in the hospitality business, and especially if you're dealing with specifically breweries, your palate's gonna have to be refined. I'm sure you, Heath, is it Danny? I'm sorry, Darren. Sorry, I'm sure you guys go around trying. Like, you guys drink beer differently than me.
Research and development, man. That's what I tell my wife, anyways. It's that, and like to your original point, how does Heath get those styles in his head? It's a lot of communication, and it's a lot of it is a lot of beer drinking, which is fine. But we had our team. He'll go to the team and say, what do we want to do? We'll have a team meeting, and what beer have you had out and about? We have one that's on deck for a couple weeks from now, and it might be a Mexican lager with sea salt and lime, or it might be a stout. And it's all about Heath and the reception that we get from the public too. We poll the public a lot. What do you guys want to drink? There's no better person to tell us what to make than the people drinking it, right?
That's good. So, that's good on Heath though, for kind of having an open floor for that. So you feel comfortable if he says something, and if there's something that you may not like, or there's something that you really want, he built that relationship to where you can come in and be like, dude,
absolutely, that's
good.
And he does that, and I love the fact that he does it to get better. He's like, what do you think? And the team is now, especially my veteran team members like Robin and Erica, there's no pulled punches, and he doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to tell him, oh, it's great, and then spit it out behind his back. He wants you to tell him what did you like about it, what didn't you like about it, and he grinds, man. And the inspiration for the beers is a friend of ours, the friend of the breweries, came back and said, oh, I had this like strawberry banana shandy, and we said, oh, that's cool, and sat on it for a year, and he loved it. And we made a strawberry banana sour, and it was just, that guy said strawberry banana and went to Heath. Heath was like, that's a cool idea, and made a strawberry banana sour. And it's not like super tart. It's got a lot of good flavor to it. And it was one of our most popular beers. So it's whatever, we'll make, he loves the challenge of creating new recipes, and he's really good at it. So I love throwing him curveballs. I'll throw him beer names and styles at the same time, and he'll knock it out of the park every time. Easy guy to follow.
I know it's going to sound cheesy or corny, but there really is an art to it. There really is an art to everything that does come from creating, whether it be cooking, cigars, beer. Like, there is an art to it, because he heard two words that got his brain going, and then a year later it was created. And I'm sure he was going through the process of it, and I'm sure much like writers, I'll say writers because I feel like writers do have writer's block.
Sure.
Right? You have a blockage of something where like, oh man, it's there but not quite.
Yeah.
So you have to step away for a bit and then go back. And if you still feel that way after a few days of being away from it, then you're like, all right, something has to change. But it could just be that day your palate is off. It's something you ate. So like if you guys are doing beer testing, do you eat beforehand? Do you drink the beer while eating something? Like how do you guys do? Is it you try to keep your palate as clean as possible?
Yeah, as clean as possible. We usually have a sidecar of water.
Okay.
That's a good way to do it. And a lot of the times what people do is, they'll, the Cicerone test, which is, doing the swishing it around in your mouth. And then once if you swallow a sip, you exhale on the way down and you get all the back notes of the beer. So that's a good way to taste beer.
That's how retrohaling is for cigars.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
You sit it like you have it sit on the back of your tongue, and then you try to exhale with your mouth, but also through your nose, like exhale through your nose, and then you'll be able to tell up here, like you're supposed to be able to tell how strong the cigar is. If up here is burning, it's a full-bodied cigar.
Really?
If you do that and it doesn't hurt, then it's more mellow to medium.
Yeah.
But when you exhale, you're able to say, "Oh man, this is a spice bomb." Because most people, like Tyler, just started smoking cigars. He's like, "All these cigars taste the same to me." They did for me too when I first started. Then you start developing it more when like you see something, and if you ever smoke something that kind of feels normal, but then you get to the second, third, and you're like, I think I taste chocolate. That's how you know your palate's
cool.
Yeah.
But and then in that same breath, Chris, which is cool, is when I was in restaurants, I knew a little bit about craft beer. I knew more about, the mass-produced ones, the light beers and stuff, because I was whatever was on happy hour. But where you've come a long way is you started working here, and now you're the way you speak about cigars so passionately, and your knowledge of them is you're not a master cigar roller, but you have a real knack for this. And the same thing with beer is that I knew about it, but now working with Heath and Darren and getting ingratiated in the world of beer, I can confidently speak on beer. And I'm not an expert or anything like that, but I do know what to look for. I do know how to someone teaching you how to smoke a cigar or drink a beer and get all the flavor out of it. It's wild to think about because 20 years ago I was just drinking beer to get to the point.
Of
and
course,
now I'm enjoying every beer I have. I love getting new beer. I love getting local New Jersey beer. New breweries pop up. We're there because it's just a cool thing to know that what went behind the craft, what it takes to do that and make this product. And it's not easy. And people, come in for the good time. But that process, we open at 4 Monday through Thursday, and Heath and I are there at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And if he's brewing, he's there earlier. And that that what you see is the duck on water. You see the fun, beautiful duck, but underneath is us, just really working it. But you've come a long way in that.
I appreciate
knowledge,
it, man.
Cool.
Thank you. I will say, I will. I'm proof of that because when we went to go film you a few years ago, I think we went in kind of like early-ish, filmed you guys, and Heath was working, and we stayed for trivia night. But yeah, I think even when I'm texting you, like, hey man, what's going on? How you doing? No, just heading into work. I'm like, damn man, you're there before I'm going. Like it's 8 a.m. But that's the preparation. What it sounds like to me, and how you just kind of explained to you and I is like we decided to. This could have been just a job for us, but now it's becoming a passion and a career. And it's because you could have gone to Glenbrook, right? You could have been like, during the height of COVID and you just left the restaurant. You could have been like, you know what? I'll do this for a minute and then I'll figure out my own shit along the way. I think you went in with 2 feet. You wanted to learn. That could be due to maturity, due to like I really just want to learn something new.
Well, I'm not mature, but
well, the audience doesn't know that, but now they know. But and it's different. If you did this when you were in your early 20s, not I'm not saying everyone in their 20s it doesn't feel this way, but like if I started here at 24, 25, I wouldn't be taking me personally. Yeah. I wouldn't be taking it seriously because I was like, I'm just trying to have a good time.
Right.
Like you said,
stepping stones.
You were drinking just to get to the point. Now you're drinking to make a point, to be like, how are we going? And it's really, you said something a while ago. It's really interesting that you guys have 12 variations on tap when others may have 24, 30, 18, right? What I like about you guys having 12 is like, all right, this is it. And I don't know if people ever tell you this. I look at your menu, I'm like, this is kind of out of my comfort zone right now. because I'm used to one style of beer.
Sure.
So now I'm gonna try something different. I don't know if that's genius marketing, if that's something really, because I think
I'm not a genius.
no, because I think it's smart, because anyone can have 20. You find a restaurant, a brewery with 24 beers on there. Of course, you're going to find a Yingling or something, or Yingling adjacent, a Miller Lite. You're going to find that. Here, it's like, I feel like you're almost being like, we do have Pilsner, we do have lagers, but it's our own little twist. We do have stouts, but it's different.
Yep.
So I think that's really interesting. Like 12 is such an interesting number, because it is a lot, I'm sure, for you guys to really like have to keep up with the kegs and all that. But
cleaning is never ending.
Yeah. But I think it's a perfect number, because you're not gypping anybody, and you're also not overloading people being like, what do I try? Standing there and being like, there's 20 beers.
Right.
What do I do? I mean,
I panic. I'm like, that one's familiar. I'll take that one.
I love the flights. I do flights every brewery, because you try a little bit of each.
Yeah. Get 4 or 5 styles.
But I do flights, and then I'm like, and then everyone's like, well, which one do you like? And then I'll get like I'll get a glass of it afterwards. I think that's what it's good for. So,
but if we do the first question, a lot of non-beer drinkers or Budweiser drinkers come up to the bar and they say, I don't like IPAs. And we go, cool, we only have one. We have one on tap right now. Sometimes we'll float a double in there. We floated a session IPA. We have pale ales and things like that. And we've done a couple different variations. Our Morristown IPA, which I brought today, is do you want me to crack that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He didn't bring these for show. We are going to like.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to sip on them? I would love for you to talk about each one you have in terms of the flavors.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So, but the question is the IPA, and people say I don't like IPAs. Cool. He does a great job of the variety of our 12. We don't have 24, so the variety of 12 has to be unique. Oh, I got to get Taylor in here too.
Yeah.
No man left behind.
So this is the Morristown Hazy IPA.
This is the Hazy IPA.
How long have you had this for?
This is one of our, probably actually our second IPA.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers, buddy.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good. So Hazy IPAs are made differently. The cool part about brewing is the hop builds. There's so many different variations of hops and styles. You get one that might taste, El Dorado's different than Galaxy, things like that from different regional places. This is a Citra hop. It's a very popular hop in a New England style being the hazy style. Morristown IPA, we named it that just because we're Morristonians and we wanted our own IPA. This is 6.3% alcohol. Not too high, not too low. It's perfect for like a back deck cigar beer.
Yes.
I love it. It's also really good with like spicier foods or zestier foods.
IPAs are always have that zesty spiciness to me, or like that. I'm gonna sound stupid talking about beer, but like that like kick on the tongue. What is that in every IPA? That's the hop.
Yeah. Right. So when you and I honestly don't know enough about brewing. I've been around it for 5 years and I've been around a professional. But the bittering agent, there's two parts of it: the mash tun and then the boil kettle. And that part is very crucial to the brew process because you're adding, pretty much in time intervals, you're adding hops to make it more or less bitter. And that's before that's like not the final step fermentation or carving it up. But once you get to that level, that's a really fine-tuned moment. That's when Heath locks in. I always say he has that face on his face. A brew takes him about 6 to 7 hours. So he has to plan for that. We make this in 1,000-gallon batches, so it's a long double brew day for him. We use 90 pounds of Citra hop in here, and then for the bittering agent, he'll use Centennial, things like that, and whatever there's some hops that bitter better, I think, but you just see the whole process about making it is like you said before, brewer. It's the brewer. It's the brewer that makes it. It's their intuition as a brewer, how they think it's going to taste. They know the process front to back. So it's a really cool way to watch, if you do it at a different time, if you do it at 30 minutes, if you bitter at 30 minutes instead of 15, then, the beer's going to taste totally different. So it's a lot of timing and a lot of very devoted process and hands-on. A lot of timers set at Glenbrook. I'll hear timers going off every day, which is great for him because he's,
it's his process. Yeah.
I put one in the office. I'll put one in the brew house just so we know.
I'm not a big, I never gravitated towards IPAs, especially when I was younger. Now I I enjoy them because they get the job done, but they also taste like I just love the taste. I think every time I think of an IPA, I'm automatically like, if I'm gonna go out to dinner, if I'm gonna have an IPA burger for me, right?
Yep.
I think what you're smoking, which is the Crown Heads Mother
delicious.
Church,
It's amazing.
I think that pairs well with the IPA. And something very similar to beer and cigars is this looks on the lighter side, right? Not you can't really see through it, so it's not like a Pilsner. It looks light, but it's not.
But that's also a part of the hop too.
Yeah. And that's like with cigars.
The malt build is totally the malt build. I didn't mean to cut you off. The malt build will,
you're good.
Condition kind of if you use black Pilsner malt, you're getting a stout porter kind of thing. And we use that for a couple beers. But yeah, the entire process determines the color, the viscosity, the transparency of it. There's West Coast IPAs, which have a little bit more bitterness hop, and then the New England style, which are hazy, which is kind of everybody loves those. But there's a lot of cool ways to make them. There's a lot of cool hops to mess with, and that's what these brewers are, mad scientists. They're in the back, an explosion, and it comes back, his hair's blowing back, and he's got soot in his face. I'm like, you all right, man? He's like, I'm good.
Like Flubber, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's cool to be a part of. It's cool to watch. But when he's got that face on his face, he's up to something.
Yeah, he's like locked in a way. Yeah. I would, for anyone who does go to Glenbrook in New Jersey, if you want to take a trip in New Jersey, Morristown Hazy IPA, I would pair it with an Oliva Serie V Milanio or Guy Fieri's cigar, the Knuckle Sandwich in the Habano wrapper. That one would be really...
Guy Fieri makes a cigar called the Knuckle Sandwich?
Yeah, he does it with Espinosa Cigars.
Wow.
Last June, he was here doing an event, and I got to film him. I didn't get to meet him.
He's like my spirit animal.
No, he's awesome. I actually also got to meet...
good human being, and awesome.
He's just so funny, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you see him now. He's always I feel like he's at every sporting events all-star game. He always has a cigar in his mouth.
Oh, nice.
So he's getting into that. He does a Knuckle Sandwich Habano and a Knuckle Sandwich Connecticut. And they're box press cigars. They're really good.
I've heard you say Connecticut a couple times regarding cigars. Is that like regional?
It's a
hops,
wrapper. Yeah. So Connecticut wrapped cigars, whether they're Connecticut broadleaf, they take seeds from Connecticut or they're grown in fields in Connecticut.
Wow.
I've been up there 2 or 3 times, and you wouldn't think Connecticut, out of all places, would have tobacco fields. Foundation Cigars is based out of Connecticut. Nick Melillo, the founder, he born and raised there. He has offices there. The fields are really nice, but you're only getting X amount of time to be able to grow these tobaccos. Yeah. In Nicaragua, it's so hot. That's why you can, Nicaragua or Honduras.
Sure.
There's cigars that have Cameroon wrappers and whatnot. But sometimes you might take like a seed that was grown in Connecticut, shipped to Nicaragua for it then to grow. Or Ecuador. You see a lot of Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers. They're more on the lighter shade of like wrap cigars. So I think that anything a little bit lighter to smoke with an IPA, just because you don't want to get too people seem to get, who aren't familiar with smoking cigars, they smoke it like a cigarette and then they get light. You don't want to get lightheaded. It wants to really complement one another. What
That's
else?
Why I take it slow. As I get older,
no, it's smart to take it slow.
As I get older, I'm like, this is actually, I'm not meant to chug this. I'm not meant to burn that down. I'm meant to enjoy.
I'm meant to sip on my Jack and Coke.
These are craft things I'm doing.
These
are appreciate the craft almost.
No, you have to. I think maybe that mentality maybe changed, obviously, when you started working here. So
100%.
So what do we have here?
So would you mind if I go to this? I want to end on that.
Okay, perfect.
Because I love, that one's fun to talk about. I mean, they all are, but this one is the Check Your ID. This is our Czech Pilsner. This beer, and also I just want he's done such a great job. I want to give him the tip of the cap. We've entered these beers into competitions, and a lot of breweries do that. We're all about the hardware in our industry, and he's won. The Morristown IPA won a gold medal. This beer I think won a gold or a silver. It's not on there, but it did. It's a tip of the cap to him and his beer making process, and receiving those tips of the cap. Like our Ford Mansion basement barrel. It's a bourbon aged porter. We aged it for a year in a porter cask, or in a bourbon cask, and we won beer of the year for that. So it's like it's a huge plaque and it's cool. But there's all these beers. They're not just regular run of the mill beers. He takes time and effort, and they are award winning. So it's cool to cool to drink them.
Where did you come up with the name?
The name is the same thing. It's a team process. Usually Darren, Heath, and myself will kind of create. If we know the style, we usually know before the team or what's going on in Heath's mind, and then we kind of create the name towards the beer. We stick to like a revolutionary theme. It sometimes doesn't work out that way. George Washington is, his headquarters is in Morristown, obviously. So he kind of slowly became our mascot. I'm not sure if like America's okay with that, but it just kind of gradually came into play. But
if America's okay with that.
Yeah, I apologize, America.
Sorry,
I'm American.
America.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool. Our sour is called the Tempe Wick Farmhouse Sour. So the Temperance Wick House, huge part in the Revolutionary War. Jockey Hollow Pumpkin Ale. There's a ton of beers names that we use. Jacob Arnold's Tavern Porter, which I brought for you in the side back there. Awesome. Great with a cigar.
Did you have a Fort No Nonsense?
We had a Fort No Nonsense beer.
But then they have a brewery too.
Yeah, so Fort Nonsense, and they're good buddies of ours. And it was kind of like a similar, like we both had the idea to start breweries at the same time, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of a similar theme, but where, like I said, there's no hard feelings in brewing. It's the same. You do your thing, we'll do ours. So we had our Fort No Nonsense IPA, which was almost a double IPA, I think. And just because of the proximity to the breweries, we decided to drop that one and just kind of like push to the side. It was not a big deal, but it was just like people came in and be like, "Is this from Fort Nonsense?" And we were like, "No, that's from us." And we understood it, and it was just more answering the questions. And it was good beer, and they make great beer up there. They do sour stock every year, which is a blast. They do, Andrew does a great job making that stuff. A lot of cool creative beers too up there. Beautiful brewery too, outside patio and stuff. But the names, it's all come to us. This is a special beer to us because unfortunately we lost two. They were more than bouncers. They had regular jobs, but they bounced at restaurants in town, and big community guys. We knew them, we loved them, and they passed away. So the Czech Pilsner is a beer recipe Heath kind of created after we went to the CBC beer conference in Minneapolis, and he took a class on a Czech Pilsner, and he came back with this inspiration, which I loved. You could see him on the plane, like, let me fly this thing. I want to get down. I want to brew this beer. He was so jacked up about it. And then when it came to naming it, it was like, okay, like, what's revolutionary about the, Czech Pilsner? And there's really nothing, obviously. So it was kind of like, all right, and then we had the idea to create the name after the bouncers that were friends of ours that we lost. And so Czech obviously is the Czech Pilsner version, and then your ID is a denotion of them.
That's awesome.
And then there's an ID on there, and they're actually their initials are on the bottom right there too. And a cool part about this beer is that a portion of the proceeds from the sales of this to-go beer, the cans, go to the families. So they had young kids, and they were just great Morristonians, great people, JP and Darrell. And so yeah, we like, JP's daughter was in a cheerleading competition. The funds from that beer, so you drinking beer got her to that competition.
That's amazing, dude. I'm getting chills for that shit.
It was
That's
really,
like,
I love it when people drink it because they were great. Like, I can't stress enough how great men they were. But it's a cool beer when they say check your ID. And then
I love the New Jersey.
Yeah, and there's George in there too.
Nice.
Ruby George. We put like Macho Man, Randy Savage sunglasses on him. That's Darren Cregan. He's our creative director, and he does a lot of marketing for us. He's a mastermind with that stuff.
So what do you get when what do you get when you're drinking that? What some flavor notes you think you'll be getting? Or
so this one is
if you want to talk about the alcohol content and whatnot in it.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite beers to drink, just because it's a delicious Czech Pilsner. And it's light. It's 4.5% alcohol. And it's not one of those beers that's going to send you over the moon. It's got can't forget my buddy.
Thank you.
Oh, my man. What's that?
Thank you.
Cheers.
I've had this one before, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
All right, good.
Yeah, last time I
brought you some more.
went, this was in the flight I had. Yep, cheers.
Gold color. It's so make it like making wine too. It's all regional where you get your ingredients from. The same thing with cigars, and so the Pilsner malt has to come from a certain region. We have various distributors of hops and grain and malt. In the malt build, it's per bag. It's a math problem, and math was never my strong suit. But it's crisp, it's clean. It's a cold winter day. It's a hot summer day. It's back deck, drinking a beer, smoking a cigar. It's a perfect beer for a lot of situations where I feel like some beers have their certain moments to shine. and it stands alone. It's you can tell because there's not much variation to it. It has a lot of great back end flavor. It has that little Pilsner bite to it, but it's just clean all the way through. When I'm deciding if I'm after work and I've had a long day, and I go to the tap list and I look at it and I go, all right, what do I want today? If I can't really decide or I'm just in a bad mood, which does happen, this is what I'm going with. Nice. It's just a clean beer. Oh yeah. It's just delicious. It's a tailgate beer. It's a golf beer. It's a one in the riding mower. We just bought a house and my yard is like this. It's like this big maybe. And I was like, I went to the wife. I said, can I get a riding mower? She was like, for what? I just want to put a beer in there and just be a dad. I just want that. Right? I just want that one moment.
Cigar, beer, John Deere, and just go around in this in a square, and then that's that.
Yeah. And this beer, man, like I said, I can drink it in any. If I'm grabbing beers, it's going to be a Czech Pilsner. It's going to be mixed in there somewhere. It's a great cause for the beer. It's a great beer. It reminds me of them every day, and it's a great product. So
that's awesome.
One of our Morristown probably that's the market. People want to drink IPAs. Bars and restaurants love IPAs, but this is a very close second to that. Just because
that's very special. Like clean. the whole I don't know, branding theme you want to call it is just special.
Yeah. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't when I saw the name when I went a few weeks ago. I thought it was very clever. Check your ID. I thought that was awesome. But now hearing the backstory of it makes it even more special.
And the funny thing is, like the marketing side of it, we were like, it's check your ID, like for the guys, for JP and Darrell. And then Darren was like, well, what about like Czech Pilsner, like a CZECH? I was like, oh, that's such a better idea. It was, so that's why it's cool. Like the team was involved. Yep. The team had an input on it. And this, we make beers, and then we have our core, which I always put in quotes, because we kind of offer everything to everybody. We're self-distribution, so we don't have to kind of stick to the standards of distribution where you get 2 styles of beer to give to everybody. You want that style, we'll get it to you. And that's a fun one. Some bars have the opportunity to donate to that fund too. So 1776, shout out in Morristown. They'll buy a keg and then they donate a couple bucks on top of their invoice for that cause, which is just it's a great community thing. There's a lot of places that do that. The Famished Frog, the Thirsty Turtle, and things like that. So we love that beer being out there. And once we get a good beer and people seem to enjoy it, it might move right into our core. And then we had a Colonial Ale, which is a really nice golden ale. The beginning of our time.
I remember that. Yeah,
and we still have the recipe. We didn't lose it, and we might bring that back. But there's some beers that people are like the Irish Red, which I don't have today. I have for you guys in the back, but we made it for St. Patrick's Day Parade in Morristown, which is huge. And they were like, the people came to us like with pitchforks. They were like, why is this not a year-round beer? And we were like, okay, it can be. I thought they were gonna like yell, and it was like. So then we made it in March. We made 500 gallons of it. And we blew through it in 3 days. So it was like, oh yeah, I guess they like it. So we just kept making that. And that's a part of our core now. But he's got a lot of cool creative ideas coming up. He's got a lot of great fall beers. His Oktoberfest Marzen, which is Black Pilsner Malt. Our Jockey Hollow Pumpkin Ale. We use fresh pumpkins from Buck Hill Farm.
Did you hear that? Pumpkin Ale? He's
a
big pumpkin beer fan.
It was actually one of the first beers he made, and probably the reason we're a brewery, because he entered a homebrew competition. I think he came in second. And that went home and was like, I think I got this,
Yeah.
And he does. He got it.
So when you guys are, you said you brewed 500 gallons of the red ale.
Yeah.
How do you keep it? Like, it's going to be a stupid question.
No,
I don't care. How do you keep it fresh? I know you said it went in 3 days, but if you are making that much beer, and maybe that beer is not moving that fast like red ale would, how do you guys keep that fresh? Is that those big ass?
The big ass fermented. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's fermentation tanks, and then we not a lot of breweries have them, but we have bright tanks behind the bar. So when you go into our bar, you'll see beer tenders with a smiling face, and then you'll see our taps in front of us, which a lot of breweries have it, and a lot of places have it on the back bar. And then behind them is 5 bright tanks. So they're pretty much 500-gallon refrigerators, and they have carb stones, which is to carb up a beer. You make a beer, it's flat, it's not ready yet, and then you gas it up and then carb it up. So, beer comes out just how they made it in the 1700s. It was like just flat, kind of like, barley wine and stuff like that. It was very not great. And then carbonation came over. There's carb stones, which are like this big. And I thought it was a joke when I first saw a carb stone. I was like, that thing, it's like a rod. and you put it into a bright tank or a fermenter, and you can carb up beer. And I was like, that's going to carb up 500 or 1,000 gallons? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, you're smarter than I am. So, okay, I'll trust it. But, so we have 5 500-gallon fermenters, 5 bright tanks, and 2,000-gallon fermenters at Glenbrook. So we make a lot of hooch. There's some, some aspect of brewing, especially at a smaller brewery. If you make a beer and it doesn't sell as fast, pace is a huge thing with breweries.
Yeah.
Because you want to, like these 2 beers are heavy into our accounts. We have a couple of accounts in Morris County and throughout New Jersey. And these are really 2 of our bigger styles. But those we have to overlap. We make a Czech Pilsner and the Check Your ID. And then when it gets to a certain point level, which you can see on the sight glass on the side, you just make it again. Okay. And because then it takes this one particularly, beer's different pace. They have different fermentation times. So like Morristown IPA, with the haziness, it's also dry hopped with Citra hop, 90 pounds. So that takes about 3.5 weeks, and you can accelerate processes, but Heath doesn't like to do that, which I love because he's afraid of jeopardizing the integrity of the beer, and he'll never do anything to do that. So the Czech Pilsner, 5.5, 6 weeks to ferment. So you got to kind of anticipate where the beer's going, where, how fast it's moving. And if you have a beer that doesn't sell that well, it's kind of like, oh man, we got a lot of that.
How do you determine when you're fermenting it, what gets canned and what goes on tap? Is there
everything's going on tap for sure?
Everything goes on tap.
Everything goes on tap.
So then out of the 5, so then all right, everything goes on tap.
So we have a keg room, I should say. I kind of threw a curveball at you with the numbers, but we have our walk-in. So some of the fermenters will keg the beers off and put them on it. So we have 7 lines coming from the walk-in. So we have 7. We keg off beer. Those are also gassed up and cleaned. And then we have 5 of the beers come from our bright tanks behind the bar.
Cool.
So that equals the 12. But pace is the biggest thing. It's like like you said, if a beer, we have a great canning company, Ironheart Canning, and we do it once a month. We can once a month. If we can twice a month, we're cooking. And we've done that before a couple times, especially March when everybody's like coming out of their hibernation cells. But they'll come in and they say, I need 200 cases of Morristown IPA. I need 100 cases of Czech Pilsner. Whatever our distribution pace is, whatever liquor stores are buying, whatever people are buying, that's what we decide to make. And we'll do inventory the day before a canning run and go, all right, I'm actually low on spruce ale right now. So we gotta get that one back rolling. We have another canning run coming up mid-August. So we'll throw that into the line. And then we usually wind up canning off, anywhere from 200, 300, 400 cases.
Okay.
So it's a nightmare every day. It's a lot of work, especially in August and stuff when it's like super hot. But, if you want to dance, you got to pay the band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I love that. I will say, what I'm smoking right now is the Aganorsa Leaf Anniversario in the Maduro wrapper. I think that complemented the Check Your ID very well.
Yeah.
So because the beer, to me, is a little bit lighter on the lighter side, you could go with a darker,
more flavorful
cigar that has,
I agree with that.
This is from Nicaragua. So you're going to get spice, right? And I think it just balances out the Check Your ID or a Pilsner in general very, very well. I wouldn't personally, I wouldn't pair it with the IPA because I don't want, if I'm going to be drinking an IPA, I do want to smoke something that's extremely mellow.
Yeah, mild.
Like very mellow. That's not going to over dominate your palate, but something that will complement the beer, right? In this case, I think it's kind of, it's the opposite. With a Pilsner, I will take I'll take a darker shade wrapper because I think it'll just complement the beer so much more.
That's a good way to put it. I didn't even think about that. Because the Czech Pilsner is more just like your baseline. And then you're getting the flavor from the cigar.
So
they're not competing flavors.
For the opposite, and that's the opposite with the IPA. I feel like you're getting it's so flavorful.
It adds.
You don't want to add another cigar you don't want to add something to it that's extremely flavorful, and then your palate's just shot. So, So you said you want to talk about this one last.
Yeah, it's cool.
It has a cool story.
It does. That's the Green Mountain Spruce Run Ale.
Dude, Spruce Run.
Spruce Run. So this is a cool.
I just put that. Wow, I'm shot.
What? It's all
No, I just put that together. I used to go to Spruce Run all the time.
Oh yeah.
My aunt and uncle live up there. I love that area.
So it's Wilmington, Vermont. Yeah. Is a collaboration we did. Valley Craft Ales, great folks up there. It's been a pleasure to work with them. We've worked with them consecutively now on this project for a couple runs at the Green Mountain.
How'd that collaboration come about?
Darren, our creative director and owner, his buddy is a part of that up there, Mike, and they got to talking having a couple beers, and it was a cool idea for collaboration because we collaborated with Lions Roar Brewery out of Westfield, great people over there. And we came up with Revolutionary Roar. It was an awesome beer, but like collabs are tough to do because of time and manpower and things like that, person power. And people you always want to collab with somebody. Like one of my favorite breweries in New Jersey is in Cape May called Gusto, and I would just love to do a Gusto collab. But like the actuality of it is like, how much time are we going to have to do that? And it's a lot of communication, a lot of recipe sharing and things like that. And brewers just, getting their heads together. But it's just the time and the process and the effort. It's like, dang. So when we did this, when we linked up with them, it was, we make the beer and we do it on our end, they do it on their end. And it kind of worked out. We had a lot of Morristonians and Morris County folks going up there. Like I said, they're great people. And the idea was cool. It's a spruce ale, which George Washington would make.
He would make it?
Make it. I think he made some in Virginia. Don't quote me on that. I could have heard that wrong, but I know he drank a hell of it.
Yeah.
That was his beer. So back then, obviously, spruce was forageable. So that was an additive for flavor and things like that. So, and I originally tested this beer. He was like, try it out. And usually tested beer before you carbonate it, before you gas it up, before you carbonate it, and before you transfer it. And I tasted it, and I was like, ooh. And I'd never tasted a beer like that. And it hit me like a sack of potatoes. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, it's a little piney. It's got a little earthy flavor to it. And I was like, okay. And then I started drinking more of it. And then I had a pint. And I was like, after I got like midway through the pint, I think my palate was like accepting of it. It was like, whoa, this is cool. And then, it's a great beer to drink outside. I always say that, not because of the earth connection, but it's just it's a great beer. And the Green Mountain Boys were, at this, we print stories on the side of our cans too. So every time you're drinking, you can be reading the story, or we have a QR code that will lead you to a page of like a description of something. This one has in loving memory for the guys and stuff like that. But I
absolutely love this design.
Knowledge, yeah. So that was a collaborative effort between Darren and Valley Craft, and it's kind of a shout out to them. The New Jersey, I think they did the New Jersey Vermont thing on the base. Let's crack on. It's a cool collaboration, cool beer, cool thought. We actually reached out to Laird's this year. Laird's is the first distributed alcohol in the country. Their distribution license is 0001. So we reached out to them, got some of their old Applejack barrels, and we're aging this in Applejack barrels because also George Washington drank a lot of Applejack. So next year for the 250th anniversary of our country, we'll be releasing that. Thank you, buddy. We're going to be releasing that, hopefully in January, maybe February. He's got to see the levels and stuff like that and how it's moving. But so that spruce run is fermenting in a Laird's barrel, Applejack, and it's going to be a cool little 250th celebration. But I would smell this one, and then do that swallow exhale technique. You'll get all the notes of the pininess. You'll feel what I'm talking about.
Wow.
And it's just nice. It's clean. Heath actually foraged the spruce himself, which is, I think, hilarious. Just like, if you know Heath Traver, the legend, he's about 6'5", 6'6", and I just imagine him in like a forest, like, and someone's like, "Sir, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm a brewer."
He's so when I tell this to people all the time, when someone towers over me, like they are huge.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a big ogre.
Gentle giant, man.
Yeah, no, Heath was very quiet.
Yep.
You could tell he was a little nervous on camera. Like, he is definitely the guy that, like, he's the guy that's behind the scenes, right?
You want that guy in the
Darren
back.
are the guys that are, out there, front facing, the personality, I'm assuming.
I mean,
don't
you
definitely. I never
Heath.
met Darren, but with you for sure.
Oh, Darren for sure. But Heath also.
Heath. I mean, when Heath
you got to crack that egg.
When Heath got to talking about beer, it's like, okay, now I'm in my comfort zone, right? Talking about other stuff, being on camera might be a little awkward for me. But no, once I started talking about beer, it was great. And he was a cigar smoker, I know, because
he's a tight end in college too. There's so much aggression for football, and he's just. I mean, he's
where did he play?
Played tight end at Georgetown. Yeah.
I can't see him being maybe a basketball player because he's talking about football.
He played basketball too, but he chose to play football.
Football, wow, yeah.
Yeah,
he's so quiet. He's so nice, and I know you said like he's very much like come into work, spend time with family.
Yeah,
he's rather repeat.
He's so as a new father myself, he is like Him and Darren, just great dads, and they balance their work life because being a part of the brewery is just so much time. And
like you said, it's not a 9 to 5.
No, and balancing that with, they've shown me the way a little bit, and they're veteran dads, girl dads, and the way they do it, he's meticulous about his job, he's passionate about his job. You can tell he's invested, and he works his ass off, man. Like so does Darren. Darren works another job. He works 2 jobs.
Wow.
I'm no slouch either. I work a lot, and just having that dedication to your family, having that dedication to your passion, and also being a good friend and a good role model. They're both just exactly. I love working here, man.
Nice.
It's exactly where you need to be, and we do it right.
I was shocked to hear you were on vacation. You recently, like I said, that's how hard you work. I go into Glenbrook, you're always there, even if you're like, hey, my shift's ending, or I got to run out, or I'm here running the ship.
Yep.
When I heard you on vacation, I was like, good.
Yeah.
Like, good. You're taking
my
a break.
longest vacation since I've been at Glenbrook, actually, minus paternity leave. But that was no vacation.
No. I just
went to Cape May for 5 days.
I just came back from paternity leave, and no one here has been like, how was your vacation? How was your time off? I was like,
they wouldn't dare.
They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare. Something interesting I'm noticing right now, my first puff of my cigar after sipping this was a little spicier. So this brought like I don't know if it was with my palate, but this brought kind of like a new flavor to the.
Ooh, that's really
to
good.
my palate.
That's really good.
There's
the flavor. You don't necessarily eat or drink that flavor on a daily basis. So when you find it in your palate, you're like, oh, it kind of has that like question mark above your head.
And maybe it's in my head right now, but it's bringing out the earthiness in this.
Yeah.
Because every cigar is.
I call that beer Mother Earth because it's just like
I don't know what
it doesn't taste like dirt, but it's
no.
I feel like I'm taking a hike.
Yeah. when I say cigars taste earthy, I remember one guy was like, "What? You're just eating grass and comparing it to cigars?" I'm like, "No, it's
How often do you eat grass, sir?"
It tastes like when you are. It tastes like it's raining outside and you smell earth. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
But this, I've never tasted any beer like this before.
Yeah.
Like this is one of one right now.
It's cool, man. It's really cool. It's cool.
Like you said,
and some people
like
are like, I hate it. I'm like, that's okay. I have another beer for you. That's
kind of crazy. People come out and just say, I hate.
They think we're best friends. Yeah. They're like, they let me know what they're feeling, how they're feeling, which I appreciate because I can work with that. I can work with your honest feedback.
I think that's probably good for you. So if they come to
no one spit beer in my face yet.
But, that's good. If they come to you and say they don't like something, then that's your opportunity to be like, all right, well now I'm going to put my knowledge to the test and be like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And they tell you, you give it to them, and you might just have someone in there who's just, I don't know, wants to be a pain in the butt.
That happens a lot.
And just wants to not like anything. But if you're there to prove to them, like, no, like we have something for you. Like you said earlier, if they drink all 12 beers and they don't like it, then you're going to give them a free t-shirt, But
like the porter's a good example of that because it's a dark style beer. It drinks very thin. It's very clean, has a lot of great different flavors that, some people say there's a coffee flavor in there. We don't use coffee ingredients in the beer. It's just the way the black Pilsner malt works.
I think a lot of people just associate most stouts with coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know, like every stout, every brewery I go to and I see a stout, it's a coffee style stout, or they say, oh, you're going to get notes of like chocolate or coffee. And so I think people just kind of associate that with
and they're not wrong too. I've definitely had one where I didn't get that, but then I had one where I did. But that beer is great because it's a porter. So obviously coming from the root word port. So port is obviously wine. So when people come in and they say, I drink Cabernet or I'm a port wine drinker, but I hate beer. I go, all right, we'll try this. And I've converted a couple of absolutely non-beer drinkers. Like I'm here because my husband wants to be here kind of people. But that's okay. I love those. And I think all breweries around are like, challenge accepted. Yep. Like, let's do this. And we have such every brewery has a wide variety, like Autodidact and Morris Plains, their beers are consistently just in a different standing. Like they have a black IPA and they have some really creative stuff, but finding that variety for you individually, like I drink tequila soda. Cool, let's try it. We can get there. We can follow this train.
My wife hates beer, but she loves you guys because you guys are one of the few that do have drinks for her,
right?
Like seltzers.
Yeah.
You're seeing it a little bit more now, but I think right off the bat when we would go there, I'm like, hey, if we want to go out in Morristown, like, is Glenbrook good? Yes. Like if I were to bring her to another brewery, she would be like, does it like Glenbrook? Does it have seltzer?
Yeah.
Because she's not a beer drinker.
Right now we have a rosé.
Yeah,
we have the rosé seltzer on right now. We just switched from
that
the half lemonade, half iced tea one. A lot of breweries like Diamond Spring, Manskirt come to mind. They do a great seltzers,
Yeah.
Bull and Bear and Summit, they do a great job. It's cool to see, and like I said, that's probably for me at least personally the only malt-based product, the only beer/seltzer that I can have consistently, and everywhere I try it is different, and somebody does it better than this person. And this is good. The flavoring over here is unique. Some people use syrup, some people use additives, and some people use fresh stuff, purees. So it's cool to, there's a company called Oregon Puree, and it's like all fresh stuff. I had some at the CBC, and they had it in like a little seltzer, and I was like, wow, it was cool. It was like, I think my wife would love it. She likes the more milder with the flavor behind it, which is cool. The cool part about beer is that there's an exit for everybody. You might not like IPAs, but you might love Czech Pilsners, you might love porters or spruce ales or whatever. Montclair Brewing has all these creative different things. It's just cool to see all these brewers kind of be like, what's everybody doing? All right, cool. This is the market. I'm going to do this one. And that's where the competition is. But competition breeds success in that regard. It's like, I'm going to make a beer and you can make it the same exact ingredients and it tastes different. And you're like, all right, you have to figure out how to make your every single beer good. We have 12. Other breweries have more, but making 12 delicious beers is like a really tough task, Like, Anheuser-Busch has like Budweiser and Bud Light, and they're winning. So it's like, you might not like everyone. We might not hit on every single one, but we will, because of our brewer, we're gonna do some damage, and you're gonna like one. I guarantee it.
But that's what's so interesting, with the comparison of, wine and spirits, beer, cigars. There's cigar lines, there's cigar brands out there that's the only thing my dad's gonna smoke. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be the Monte Cristo. It's gonna be Avantis. It's going to be something. I'm gonna have a little bit more of this if it's all right.
You want that? Yeah, hell yeah.
This is great. And then you have, you see our demographic is between 25 years old, 45 years old, predominantly men. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the age range that is very open to trying new things.
Yeah.
No 25-year-old is going to be kind of set in their ways. Maybe, I'm 37. Maybe I'm starting to get set in my ways with certain things.
I'm getting a little crankier too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
For sure. I'm turning into my dad. I'm like, no.
Tucked in T-shirts, like hand on the hips, the whole thing.
I'm probably a few years away from just wearing those, the New Balances.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, tucked in shirt and all
Monarchs.
that. Just all those terrible jokes to waitresses. But no, I think that's that age range is open to trying different things. So like when you said Budweiser, Bud Light, like that's for a certain demographic. They're always gonna make money because they have that demographic. They've had that down pat since the 70s.
Yeah.
But if you do love beer specifically, trying different breweries is definitely the way to go.
Totally.
Like my dad, my father-in-law, they are very set with I'm okay with my Yingling or my Coors and my Monte Cristo White or anything, and I don't need anything different. Right. I'm actually happy I've gotten my father-in-law.
And they're too stubborn to try it and be like, all right, that's good.
Yeah, or just I like what I like. I'm not gonna why am I gonna wait? Try now. But I'm very fortunate with getting a handful of cigars here. Just whether manufacturers come in and they give you a handful of stuff. And I'm like, hey, try this one and see what he thinks. And he'll be like, that's the best damn cigar.
Yeah.
I lit that up at 8 a.m. and I loved it. That. So that's where I get the joy of recommending a cigar to someone who's kind of only had one kind of wheelhouse, right?
And it's okay to have that wheelhouse.
It definitely is. But I think it's good to expand. If you're going to a brewery, I think like I said, I'm not saying what I'm doing is the right way, but you get a flight, see what 4 beers. What are they? 12-ounce cup or 8 ounce? 5 ounces.
Yeah.
Some
brewers are different, but
yeah, 5-ounce cups, glasses. You try something different, and then you're like, man, you can either get another flight, or you can be like, no, I really like this one. Then you can get something bigger. I think that's what it's all about. Is just trying some. It's all about trying something different because you don't want to get. People get stuck in their ways with a bunch of things, But
even the infancy of both of them, when my dad owned a bar for a long time in Guttenberg. And it was Budweiser and shot. It was beer in a shot bar. And the evolution of, he always said his craft beer was Bass Ale, which, at the time was probably the craziest creation they could think of. but with the advancement in brewing techniques and
Yeah.
hop progression, and there's like a cryo hop. There's they grow this shit in labs, man. And the same thing with probably cigars. There's regional ingredients that you can't miss on, but there's a lot of creativity that people are still we're still learning about the process. We're still learning. Everybody, that's what it is. It's all education all the time. That's why the craft beer convention, the CBC, Great American Beer Festival, fun time, great competition. CBC is more knowledgeable. You take classes and you learn more about your industry and the progression of it. What kind of crazy shit can I create tomorrow? And it's just it's a cool thing to be a part of, where tomorrow's beer is not going to be yesterday's beer,
No.
and it's not going to be consistently Bass Ale, which is fine if it is. But try something else. My wife is the same way. She loved Yingling. That was her beer. And then we made a beer called the Continental, which I love. And it's the same style of beer. It's just our way, and that was her favorite beer. She's not a beer drinker, but when she went to breweries, she'd know what to look for. She wanted to look for that American lager. That was her goal, and now she knows. And she has a couple different ones. She likes the sour every once in a while. No IPAs. That's a hard pass, but that's okay. And that's the thing. There's beer for everybody. She's a wine drinker, so it's like when she goes to a brewery just for me, she's like, I know she can confidently have a beer, order a beer, and enjoy that beer, because she did the diligence of trying. And that's the biggest part, is like getting out of your way and just trying some stuff, because you might be surprised.
That's
Cigars and beer.
perfectly said, though. Yeah, I think I understand if you're new to cigars, you don't want to smoke everything to try and figure it out. But if you're starting to smoke more, I was fortunate. I got to work at a place that I had Nick. I would say he definitely guided me in the right direction of being like, try this, tell me what you think. Or if you like this one, try that one. And just having the fortune of trying so many different cigars to now where I know
It's opportunity. You have the opportunity.
now I
in
know
front
what
of
I
you,
want to smoke, right? Like, I'm really happy you like that cigar. That cigar is great.
Well, I gotta tell you, man, I'm not a traditional cigar smoker. I like a cigar here and there for sure. I usually don't go out of my way to buy them, but now, sitting next to you, smoking this, drinking the beer, I'm like, I could do this. This is really nice. This is a really nice. Baby goes down.
Yeah.
Dinner's cleaned up.
Yep.
Just
you
go
get
on
to
the
hang
back
outside.
deck.
Yeah. It's very, very relaxing. But yeah, I mean, just try a bunch of different stuff, because you don't know what you're gonna like.
Yeah.
And I think you guys do such a great job at just, I don't know. I have been to a handful of breweries when I was younger. I kind of just go to my go-to ones now, which is pretty much just yours. I don't know. I've been to like Double Tap a few times.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I'm always kind of like,
Usually you stay in that
mainly because I want to
one-trick
see
pony.
you,
Yeah.
and like every time I see you, we're laughing about some shit. You're making fun of me, like, and my wife will join in as she should. But no, it's just a good time, and but everything, the what you guys make it's every time I go there, I don't go as much. Everything's different. And I think that's important. I think you do it for the seasons. I'm sure. Yeah. Like when you're in the fall, you're thinking about what to put out in the winter. When you're in the dead of winter, you're thinking about what to get ahead to spring, to have
Circle
some
back to
sort
the gray hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then in the springtime, you're like, what can we offer in the summer?
Yep.
So I think, like you said, it's forever changing. It's forever kind
That's
of
what keeps it fun.
Yeah. And I think if you guys kind of did the same old, it'd be tiring.
Yeah,
So.
it is for sure.
But I do appreciate you coming out.
Of course,
is there
man. Thank
anything
you for
else you
having
want
me.
to say where they could follow you? Like if you have a website, social media,
Absolutely.
please let everyone know.
Yeah, glenbrookbrewery.com. You'll see a bunch of cool historical things. We have Colonial Tavern Night coming up in November, where we transformed the brewery into a revolutionary style saloon, and there's war reenactors in there. It's a lot of fun. But social media is Instagram, Facebook, things like that. Ooh,
Oh, no.
boy. That is a party foul.
That is. And I was trying to move the beer. You could just leave it. I'll clean it up.
You got a straw.
There's cigar ash down there.
Well, we're pairing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram.
Sorry about
our
that.
Instagram manager is awesome. She's creating a lot of cool TikToks and keeping it. I have no idea about that, so I'm like, here's an idea. And
Oh,
she's
you guys
like,
are on
"That's
TikTok
it."
now and stuff?
We're getting there.
Nice.
She's made a lot of cool videos on TikTok for the brewery, but the gray and the goatee. I don't know enough about it, so I'm like, hey, Ashley, would you do this? And she's like, I'll
got
take your
you.
idea and make it way better. I'm like, cool. That's all I need. So yeah, follow us. We have a lot of cool events coming up.
On your website, you can see where the events are.
If you see events coming up, we have bonsai trees, we have cookie decorations. We'll do just about anything that the people want. So it's a lot of fun, especially during the holidays. We do Hops Flea Market, which we set the brewery up like a flea market.
That's
You
awesome.
Go do holiday shopping and stuff, and then there's beer too. So that's the best part. It's like
Yeah.
there's food trucks, there's food pop-ups. Shout out SPK, And yeah, it's a good time. So, check our calendar. We have a brew news you can sign up for. Email us at info@glenbrookbrewery.com. And with your email address, say, I want to be a part of the brew news. And then every Monday, you get an email. What's going on in the week? If we have music, if we have trivia,
great.
food trucks, and then you can unsubscribe at any time. No harm, no foul. But yeah, it's cool. So you see what beer's coming up too, which is my favorite part. I like checking in. I'm like, what didn't he tell me? And I see a beer. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to try it. But yeah, it's cool, man. I appreciate you having us on.
Oh man, thanks for
Appreciate
coming
you.
on, dude. It was so much
Always
fun.
good seeing you, man.
It was great
Always.
seeing you.
I chopped
Yeah.
this cigar up. I might need a couple of these. On the
No,
way
you're
out,
good.
too.
Yeah, I got you.
That's awesome.
So thank you
you,
guys
brother.
for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a great time having Conor on and trying all these different beers. If you are in the area, please stop by.
95 Morris Street, Morristown, New Jersey, right across from the train station. Can't miss us.
You will not disappoint. There's a
can't miss
bunch of stuff to do. There's a bunch of stuff to do around there, but your first stop should be Glenbrook. So thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time.